Hey guys, welcome back. Today I am going to do a page in my Life Crafted album using the Rare and Beautiful collection from Rosie Studios. Now Alice from Absolutely Alice, my lovely friend Alice, challenged me to use up this entire package of butterflies from the collection. I was a little bit stuck on how I was going to use them, and she challenged me to use all of them. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do today. I'm going to attempt to use as many of those butterflies as I can. Spoiler alert, I don't use all of them, but I will say at this point that I'm doing the voiceover for this video, I have used all of them in other places. So I have used the entire packet. I have completed my challenge. Now I've gone through all of the 12 by 12 papers and I've picked out these two, and they've both got really different vibes, and I thought I could make both of them work. I just wasn't really sure which direction I wanted to go in. And so this is not something I do a whole lot, but I gotta say I found this really helpful. What I'm going to do is trim down both of these papers into my Life Crafted size, which is 5 by 8 1/4. Obviously 2 sheets of those. And I'm just going to sort of basically build the layout on both papers and see which one I like. So I've got a vague idea. I have done myself a little sketch of what I want the page to sort of look like. And I'm just going to lay that out on both of these papers and see which ones I like best. Now I decided that there was no more appropriate subject for this page than Alice herself, so I grabbed a little selfie of hers that she'd sent me and I printed that out, and that's going to be the subject of my page since it was her challenge in the first place. Now the easiest way that I'm doing these is because everything's on a backing sheet. I'm just going to cut them all out, so I'm not sticking anything down. It's really easily movable. I'm going to use one of the sentiments from this sort of puffy sticker sentiments set. It says she shines, say that 10 times quickly. I'm going to use that as my title, and so obviously I'm going to do kind of other stuff to the page, but this is my basic layout, and what I'm going to do is just kind of work out where everything's going to go. See, this is where I realized I'm not going to be able to use all of those butterflies because they're quite a lot larger than probably what would have fit on a Life Crafted size spread. If I'd done a 12 by 12, I might have been able to use them all, but they're a little bit larger for the Life Crafted page. So these are the ones I'm going to use. So that's my first kind of idea for a layout, and I just snapped a quick photo on my phone, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing on the second paper here. And snap another photo. Now the thing is I know that sometimes when I'm editing these videos, I can see things that I don't see when I'm actually making the layout and think, oh, I wish I had done that. This is kind of a really easy way to do that because I can have a look and see which one I prefer before I even start. And although I love this tiny little, it's like a tiny little polka dot with a floral on it, I really do love that. But I loved the kind of darker, almost kind of moody vibe of this landscape pattern paper. It's not a pattern I would ever really used before, especially not as a background. I would never really even choose to pick it out as a background, but I really loved it. It reminds me of my childhood and Wanaka in Central Otago of New Zealand. I know Alice has a connection to Wanaka as well, and so that's the vibe I decided to go with, kind of moody and blue. And so I'm going to do just a tiny little bit of kind of mounting of this photo, add a few little layers in behind there. So I've been through this 6 by 6 paper pad and pulled out those same kind of colors, so those same sort of moody blues. I'm going to go moody blues and just a little touch of kind of brown. So the first paper I used was, I guess it's sort of a burgundy. It really is a muted shade, kind of browny burgundy color, just a little bit more neutral. So I'm avoiding any of those kind of pinks or blacks or anything sort of too bright and white, going for more of a moody look. Same with that lighter blue floral, and this is a lighter blue grid pattern, and to go with that kind of moodiness. And those mountains, they're kind of, to me, they look a little bit kind of torn papery, so I'm echoing that with some of these layers, tearing some of the edges so I get just that little hint of white. And then some of those edges I am trimming off so they're a little bit straighter with the scissors as well. The grid paper definitely makes that a lot easier. And that's my really basic layering there. It just helps the photo kind of stand out off that background. The background is a little bit harder to work with, I found, because it has both light and dark. So getting any sort of contrast on there was a little bit difficult. But I think some of these layering pieces I'm going to add in here from the die cut pack, they do help with that because I can balance that photo out a little bit. So I'm doing basically the same thing here. I'm going through the die cut pack, which is always huge. There's 2 of every die cut in here, which is great. It means you can use more than one, but it also means there's a ton in here. So I'm going to speed this up. I'm really just picking out those same things, those blues, those kind of moody browns, and this is the few pieces that I'm left with. I'm going to layer them up under my photo. The only one that I had to do anything to is this little clipboardy one. It has a white outline to it and nothing else does. So I didn't want to leave the white outline there. I just fussy cut that off, but it honestly did not take particularly long at all. Now I'm just going to quickly whip through here. I layer them in behind my photo. I don't spend too much time kind of overthinking that process. I'm pretty much going for the just put it down and stick it down straight away so that I can just get moving with this without overthinking too much. I love some of these tiny die cuts. They add just a little bit of detail in there. And again, it helps having some of those darker and lighter ones, helps with kind of the contrasting with the background. Now I pulled out more sort of die cuts than I actually need. I don't want this cluster to get too large because I do have all of those butterflies to add. I don't want this cluster to take up too much of the room. So I decided to leave it at that and just adhere that down. One of the reasons that I hole punch these pages at the start is so I know not to cover up any of the holes when I'm sticking things like that down. That definitely is a little hint there. Plus I find my hole punch doesn't fit particularly kind of thick papers into it. So if I added all of those layers and then tried to hole punch through it, it definitely would not work. I'm going to add my title down first before I start adding all of those butterflies. Again, just because I want to make sure I've got enough room to get my title in there. This is such beautiful kind of like, it's almost a lavendery gray kind of color puffy sticker. They're really beautiful. The sentiments are split, so I'm just using the backing sheet. There's kind of a really light impression of where those individual letters went. And if I pop those on top of my alphas, I can sort of shuffle things around with my tweezers to make sure everything goes into the right place. Now I'm going to start adding all my little butterflies. These are kind of 3D butterflies. They are adhesive backed, so easy to use. I found them a tiny bit hard to get off the sheet. Definitely needed tweezers for that one. And they do have a little bit of a kind of holographic outline around them, so they were definitely easy enough to pop off the page. As far as my journaling for this page goes, I decided just to run my page straight through my typewriter. So I added my journaling straight onto the background. I typed in black on the kind of darker portion of the background so it doesn't stand out. The journaling is there, but it's not really taking up any sort of visual space, and I really like how that looks. You can see it on the camera and you can definitely see it in real life. It was just a really handy way to kind of hide that journaling in plain sight. So you can see I've decided to add 4 of the butterflies, 4 of the kind of bluey toned ones. There's a brown one up the top there to kind of tie all those colors in. And then I get busy with a whole bunch of other butterflies. So there are some wood veneer butterflies in the wood veneer pack. I'm using a couple of those. The tones of the wood works really nicely. And in this little stamp set, there is also the teeny tiniest little butterfly stamp in there. It's super cute. And I'm going to scatter that around the page as well. The first thing I want to do is grab some of these little puffy sticker dots. I'm going to use them like enamel dots just to add a little bit more sort of interest to the page. It's another texture and it lets me introduce just those same colors into a few other places. So I'm adding the blues into kind of the lighter places and some of the browns into the blue places. And then I'm going to scatter on these little butterflies. Now I decided to stamp in black because some of those 3D butterflies do have kind of black pieces, black outlines in there. I've done my typing in black, so just to tie that in a little bit, again with the photo as well. But then I decided to go and grab a little blue ink and just kind of tone back some of those butterflies as well. Gives it kind of a little bit of dimension. It's like they're a bit further away than the ones that are black, a bit closer. That is my pretty little butterfly challenge page all done. It's very different to what I would normally pick. I mean, there's no pink in there at all, but I love how this turned out. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there are a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.